Welcome to the Keep Dreaming podcast, the show where adversity meets purpose and purpose gives birth to your destiny, but more importantly, your dreams. I'm your host, Charleston Girley, so grab your coffee and let's dive in. Good morning and welcome back to the Keep Dreaming podcast. As always, shout out to my viewers, shout out to my listeners, and I'm excited for today's episode for you all. I feel like today is going to be a treat. It's something that we typically talk about often, but today I'm going to show you how to really make it happen. And so most people, they dream for themselves, but the greatest dreamers, the biggest dreamers are the dreams for generations. And so your life is more than just a house that you live in. It's more than the job that you work. It's more than just what you simply do, but it's about the trail that you leave behind. And every step that you take, every sacrifice that you make, every risk that you embrace, it isn't just for you, but it's for the ones that come after you. But also it's a tribute to the ones that come before you. And so when I think about it, David, he dreamed of building God a temple, but it was Solomon who finished it. And so I think about my grandmother. She chased education. My mom carried it further. And now I carried it into business, real estate, faith. And so legacy isn't about who finishes. It's about who starts, who continues, and who dares to dream beyond their lifetime. And so this episode isn't about just dreaming small, but it's about dreaming generationally. Because if your dream dies with you, it was never that big enough to begin with. And so the title for today's episode is going to be Dream Legacy. And so when I was thinking about my coffee today, I wanted something flavorful because I wanted something that would add just a little bit of spice, a little bit of element to my day. And so today I am drinking a caramel latte, something that was flavorful, something that would give me a burst of energy, something that would feel good. Because when I think about legacy, when I think about generational wealth, I think about futuristic. I think about what I do today will impact generations from now. And that's a little bit of spice, a little bit of flavor in my day on today. And so if you got your drink, let's cheers to the day. And let's get this episode going. So, legacy. Legacy is the echo of your dream after you're gone. What I do between the start and the finish and what goes on beyond me, that's legacy. So it's not just about what I do in this moment, but it's about what I'm able to leave behind, what people are saying after I'm long gone. Sometimes the greatest reputation that you can have, the greatest reputation you can possess is what people are saying when you are long gone. That lets you know how you lived your life. That tells people what you did between the start date and the end date. And so it's about thinking generationally, not just situationally. And so when I wrote my book, The Black Accountant, I knew it wasn't just for me. I knew that one day my children would read my book. One day other people would read my book. No matter 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, that book will continue to sell. That book will be in a place where people will continue to read it. And that's how I've done every dream that I've envisioned. When I think about my real estate businesses, one day those properties, they'll be passed on to my children. When I created my clothing company, that will one day be a business that my son or my daughter will be able to run. When I think about all the different things, I wasn't just thinking about myself in that moment, but I was thinking about a lasting impact for my family. I reverted back to how my family started, what my grandmother did, what my grandfather did, what my mom did, what my dad did. And I took it upon myself where I said I wanted to stretch. I wanted to stretch the family, stretch them beyond their limits because I feel like God has given me the capability to go a little bit further. And in the race that I'm running, I'm going to take this baton that we have and I'm going to go a little bit further. And so then when my children come into existence, when God bless me with my family, then they will take it a little bit further. And that's how we get this thing that we call generational wealth. And so Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22 says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And so as I was thinking about all of my dreams, what is the inheritance that I can leave behind to my children? What will they be able to pick up one day? What would they be able to do that I wasn't able to do? You see, your dream, your vision, it can't be selfish. It can't just be about you in this lifetime. You may never, ever be able to get to see the fulfillment of the dream. You may be called to start it. You may be called to carry it, and you may be called to finish it. But at some point in there, you got to identify your responsibility and you got to identify where you're at. Thankfully for me, my grandparents started this dream, and I've been tasked with carrying it. I don't know if I'm going to finish it, but I've been tasked with carrying it. And remember, we said that we can never dictate how we start. And so maybe you are called to start, and that's okay. Maybe you are called to carry it, and that's okay. Maybe you are called to finish it, and that's okay. Generational wealth, it has no label. It does not dictate, hey, you will start it, you will finish it, and you will carry it. It doesn't matter. It's all that matters is what is your responsibility in the vision and dream that God has given you. And so one of the clearest examples of legacy, and it's found in the Bible in the life of David. God loved David. David had so much favor from God. And because of their relationship, David, he had a dream. He wanted to build God a temple. This was his dream. This was his vision. It was so big. It was so massive. But it was so massive to the point that David wasn't the one that was going to build it. God told him that it would not be him, but he told him it would be his son Solomon. Solomon who would complete the work. It was Solomon's responsibility to build the palace. But David didn't live to see it. He didn't live to see it built. But nevertheless, that did not mean that David's life wasn't important, because through his obedience, through his preparation, and through his faith, he laid the foundation for Solomon. So maybe God is calling you in your life to lay the foundation. Maybe you are the David in the dream. Or maybe God is calling you to build it, and maybe you're the Solomon. But let me ask you a question. Regardless if you were David or if you were Solomon, did it change the dream? Did it dictate a different dream? No, the dream is still the same. The vision is still the same. The one that God gives you is still the same, but your role may change. Your responsibility may change, and you got to be obedient to it. You got to be open to it. And so in 1 Chronicles chapter 22, verses 7 through 10, it says, David says to Solomon, "My son, I had it in my heart to build a house for the name of the Lord my God. But this word of the Lord came to me. You are not to build a house for my name, but you will have a son who will be a man of peace, and he is the one to build the house for my name." And so what if David became jealous? What if David was so selfish that he ignored everything that God told him to do? What if he wanted the dream to happen his way? What if he wanted all the responsibility? It would have never happened. And so when we're thinking about generational wealth, when we're thinking about generational legacy, we got to play our part. We got to play our role. You may be able to start it, you may be able to continue it, and then you may be able to finish it, but it all depends on what God is calling on your life. When we go back to episode 1, we talked about if we delight ourselves in the Lord, he will give us the desires of our heart. So God will place what that desired specific dream is that you are to fulfill, and then he will carry it on. But if we become obedient, if we fail to pay attention to the instructions, it may never happen. Now, legacy is so beautiful because every family is different. But when you are sitting there and you're thinking about your dream, when you're thinking about your family, when you're thinking about the legacy, you got to ask yourself a question. Are you the one? For my viewers that are on my YouTube, there's a tattoo on my right arm sleeve. And for my listeners, you can't see it, but it says the one. And the reason why I got that tatted on my arm is because for me, for my life, and for my family, I've deemed myself the one. The one who will take the baton further, the one who will stretch the family, the one who will bring new ideas, new systems, new things into reality that maybe my family members never were able to accomplish. They said it, they started it, but I'm the one that's going to continue it. I'm the one that's going to build up on it. And I'm the one. When I think about my dad was a phenomenal football player in high school. I used to be so astonished about all the comments people would say about how good my dad was. But unfortunately, my dad was not able to play at a collegiate level. And then I came along. Not only was I a great player in high school, but then I was able to take the baton further. And I played on the collegiate level, and I was a good player. And so one day I hope and pray that my son, my children will be able to take that baton further. When I think about my grandfather, James Biley, was a phenomenal plumber, a hardworking man who built with his hands. And then I came along, the one. And I took it a little bit further, and I became a real estate investor, managing full projects from start to finish. When I think about my beautiful grandmother, Maggie Biley, she pursued a degree in math, and she wasn't able to finish it because of life circumstances. And then my mother came along, Pamela Girley. Not only did she succeed in all her degrees, but she ended up getting her bachelor's of accounting. And then I came along the one. Not only did I get my bachelor's of accounting, not only did I get my master's in business administration, but I went on to own 3 and 4 different businesses just for myself. And so this isn't about comparison, but it's about continuation, being able to continue on with those who have set the pace, who are those who have laid the foundation. And again, asking yourself, am I going to be the one? In the dream that I have, in the vision that God has given me for my generation, for generational wealth, for generational legacy, am I going to be the one? And for me, I deem myself the one. I'm not stopping. I'm going to continue on. I'm going to continue to run this race and do my part, understanding that I still may not see it. Everything that I've done, I may not see the fruits of it all, but I'm going to put in the labor. I'm going to put in the work, understanding that God will fulfill it at some point for my family's legacy. And so each generation, they lay a piece of the foundation. And thankfully, I had the simple blessing to stand on their shoulders and take the dream further. And that's what legacy looks like. So when we're talking about generational wealth, legacy, that's what it looks like. Being able to stand on the shoulders of giants who already came before you, and then you yourself become a giant. How do you become a giant? You pour into God, and you allow God to pour into you. And he shows you through obedience. He shows you through patience, your role, your instructions, and you do it to the fulfillment of the best of your ability. You don't get outside of it. You don't go ahead of God. You stay within the will that he has for you. So when we step back and we say, how do we build a legacy through our dreams? Well, the very first thing is that you got to live with intentionality. You got to make daily choices that align with the long-term vision. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain. That journal that I told you all to grab, here's my journal. I write every dream in it. I write every prayer in it. I write all the steps. I write everything down in here. I got to make it plain. But not only that, God showed me. Too many times we think that generational wealth is about money. But as I started to write in my journal, I started to realize one day my kids will be able to see my journal. They'll be see everything that dad wrote, dad's dreams, dad's ideas, how dad made this happen, dad's prayers. That's generational wealth because they'll be able to pick it up one day, go back, read through it, and see what I did, see how I prayed to God, see how I wrote the business plan. That's generational wealth. Number 2, you got to create systems, not just success. You got to have documents. You got to delegate. You got to design. One of the greatest things that God has blessed me to ever do is build systems. Because if you're working in the dream every single day, hard labor, time and time again, you'll never be able to see it happen. You got to be able to create a system to where it starts to process, to where you can step out of it and it continues to run. Number 3, you got to be able to invest in people, mentor, teach, raise others to carry the torch. When my children come into existence, I'll be able to teach them. I'll be able to mold them. I'll be able to guide them because of all the experiences that I've allowed myself to go through. So when you make that setback, when you fall, when you have that failure, that's just an experience that you're able to teach somebody in the future. You're able to teach your children in the future. So embrace the setbacks, embrace the failure. It's all a part of the legacy. It's all a part of the generational work because that's valuable experience that you can speak to. That's valuable experience that you can uplift other people to keep them from making the same mistakes. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2 says, entrust to reliable people who will also be qualified to teach others. And then the last thing, you got to be able to think generationally. Your dream is about your children, it's about your community, and it's even people that you'll never meet. When God blessed me with my voice wasn't just for me. It was about everybody that I would speak to. And so the vision that I had, the dream that I had to speak to the world, it's not just about me. It's not just about my family, but it's all the people that I will encourage. It's all the people that God will allow me to speak life into. Now, that dream hasn't happened yet, but I believe it. But not only do I believe it, I resonate with the impact that it will have. What is the impact that your dream will have? What is the impact that your vision will have? Will it impact the world? Or is it just so selfish that it only impacts you? That dream is not going to happen. We're going to kick that dream out. The dreams that you have, the vision, is solely about what the impact will be for God's kingdom and his life for you. So when we're thinking about dream legacy and we're thinking about the principles, there are 4 principles that I want us to focus in on. The first is going to be the principle of vision. You can't leave what you haven't defined. What's the vision? How do you want it to look? Again, writing it down. How does this look for my children? How does this represent my grandmother? How does this represent my grandfather? How does this represent my parents? Being able to reflect on the past, acknowledging the present, and looking forward to the future. The second is the principle of stewardship. Manage your money, time, and influence well so that you're able to have something to pass on. Again, we talked about generational wealth. It's not just the money that we pass on. That's good. But we got to be able to pass on principles. We got to be able to pass on values, morals, habits. Remember the habits that I talked about, being able to get up early. That's something that I can instill in my children, making them understand why you get up early, networking, all these different things, that it all plays a part. The third principle is going to be the principle of sacrifice. It requires you to give up comfort. It requires you to give up something for the sake of the future impact. You may not be able to see it. David didn't get to see the temple. He desired it, but he had to give that up. He had to sacrifice, but ultimately God still made his promise come true. So what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to sacrifice for the ultimate fulfillment of the dream of the legacy? And then the last, the one that we always talk about, is going to be the principle of faith. Legacy means believing your dream will grow even beyond your lifetime. I know for a fact that everything that I'm doing, at some point, it will continue to grow and it will continue to go beyond me. It isn't just my life that I'm living for. It's for my children. It's for the world. It's for the impact. It's for the will of God. And I got to understand that the faith that I have, it's got to go beyond my lifetime. I don't know when my death date is. I pray that I have plenty of time, but I don't know. But I know that everything that I'm doing right now is going to create a lasting impact because I have that much faith, I have that much belief, and I have that much vision in the dream. And so our homework assignment, I want you to get back out that journal. And I want you to write one thing that you want people to remember you for. I want you to write one thing that you want your legacy to do. What's the impact? What's the effect that you want it to have on this life, your family, God's will, his people? What do you want? And then write one step that you can take to start building the legacy. It's not just about you. It's about your family, thinking about the people that came before you. And then asking yourself, am I the starter of the legacy? Am I the continuation of the legacy? Or am I the finisher of the legacy? If you feel like this episode inspired you, if you feel like it pulled out something that you didn't think that was there, it allowed you to really kind of reflect on legacy, really helped you to understand generational wealth, I really want you to share this episode with somebody because we need as many people educated. We need as many people knowledgeable on what it really means to have generational wealth. Generational wealth isn't just about money. It's about the prayers. It's about the thoughts. It's about the visions. It's about the plans. So we got to be able to share this with somebody. I want y'all to continue to subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, share it with everybody because we want as many people in on this as possible. And so I thank you all for tuning in to episode 8 of the Keep Dreaming podcast. Dream legacy. I want you to remember that your dreams are big, but a lot of times the right ones, they're bigger than you. They're bigger than your family. They all play a part in God's kingdom for our lives. And so as you go throughout this week, remember, dream big, believe in God, and keep dreaming.